Welcome into Northside Territory, Foul Territory Network's Cubs podcast. I'm Sahadev Sharma with my partner Patrick Mooney. We are your Cubs beat writers over at The Athletic. Patrick, we are going to talk about three names that need to step up post All-Star break. Some of them have already started to perform really well. We've seen flashes of what they can be and how important they are to this team. But the first name we're going to get to, we've talked a lot about pitching in recent episodes. We know how important it is to get any sort of even average performance right now out of a reliever or a starter. They just need decent innings to get through games because, outside of, facing Hunter Green when he's locked in, this offense has looked pretty strong of late. We know what they're capable of, and that's a strength of the team. And we saw Matthew Boyd look like his best self in his last start. The Cubs need that so much more often. They need to see that, like, essentially what they need in the second half is what he was in the first half last year. I should say more than the first half. It was much of the season. But it seemed like we saw it. He looked like himself, looked like the best version of Matthew Boyd. And just, getting 6+ innings right now feels like such a big deal for a starter. And he did that and racked up some quality strikeouts, limited the walks, just looked like a really good Matthew Boyd.
He gets as weather permitting, we'll see how we're recording on Saturday. I'm in Cincinnati, but he's scheduled to get that last start before the All-Star break. And after his last outing in Baltimore, he tried to find the silver lining in this of maybe he saved some bullets for later. That his arm should be relatively fresh down the stretch here. We'll see. I mean, Craig Counsell, rarely likes putting it on one player. He always talks about the group. He doesn't like separating out, do you need like the bullpen to be better or the rotation to be better, or is the offense a concern? It's like, one or the other won't be good enough. But Boyd is one of those sort of exceptions where it's like, yeah, he's supposed to be a huge stabilizing force for this group. We saw it at Camden Yards of just having all of his pitches working, having great, touch and feel with all of his offerings. His point was, you when you're healthy, you have to. Sorry, if you're healthy, that's one thing, but it's also getting reacclimated at game speed and having, all of that at your disposal. And that was a big step in the right direction for him. And it's crazy. I mean, this is a guy who started their first playoff game last year. He started opening day, went to the All-Star game, selected for Team USA in the WBC. Like, this is a major talent when things are right. And he just hasn't given them a whole lot this year. And, it's clearly due, to injuries. And that, if he's able in the second or after the All-Star break to be that guy, that really kind of changes the calculus. It doesn't mean the Cubs just sit out the trade deadline, but if you have a guy that you feel comfortable starting a playoff game, that's huge.
Yeah, I'm looking at his game log here, and it's been a lot of start and stop for him, obviously, this year. It was a really good start, his second start. That first start, the peripherals were good. He gave up far too many runs, 6 innings in 3 2/3. And then he went out and struck out 10 in 5 2/3. And that's when, I believe, what was it, tricep for him? Bicep? There's been so many injuries. There's been so many injuries, I can't keep track of them all. And basically, they were being extra cautious, right? And shut him down for a little bit. He came back in 3 weeks, and then that freak injury happened. He's outside of that second start, he just hasn't had a start where you're like, yep, that looked really good until the Baltimore start. And it kind of went just as, I think you were asking or the group was asking Counsell about him. and Council
Mhm.
said what he needed or what he was hoping would happen. I think is how he was putting it out there, and it went and happened.
Mhm.
It's kind of like that progression that you just said. He didn't look great in those first two starts after the knee injury. He was fine. They needed innings. Obviously, the state of this team is they'll take any type of decent pitching right now, and that's what it was. And now it looks a lot better. And build off that. Do that. That's what the Cubs need. Sunday, and then for the following 2 months, 2+ months, 2.5 months after that, and into October. They need him to be, uh, the 2025 version of Matthew Boyd. We know he wants that. We know he kind of he's a really like we've talked about this. He's a extremely friendly, uh, kind
Mhm.
person. Seems like a really good guy. Uh, but when he's on the mound and like even in post game, like when you ask him, like he has high expectations for himself,
Yeah.
and he's never surprised when he's great, uh, because
Yes.
that is what he believes he is supposed to do. So he has the same expectations that we're putting out there right now. So now he's got to go out there and deliver. Let's take a quick break, come back and talk about a bat. I think everyone knows, but we're going to talk more about this bat that has to step up in the second half.
Kip, I've been looking for the best deals for the All-Star Game tickets in Philly. Where are you going to get some tickets from?
I'm going straight out to right field. If Harper and Schwarber both join the home run derby, I want to be catching the hometown guys hitting them. So I'm going out to the right field, kind of where I think I could get the best chance of catching one of those home runs.
Maybe in the second deck. You can go on the app and you can look to
Ooh.
see what your view is going to be because them boys are going to be launching them, Jones. And with over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There's more than 70,000 events listed at SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. And of course, I have a code for y'all. You can use the code Territory10 for 10% off your next set of MLB tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off MLB tickets with promo code Territory10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you to SeatGeek, and we'll see you at the game.
We have been waiting 3 months now for Alex Bregman to get hot. There was a stretch there very recently where he was looking really good. I think the first game in Baltimore kind of capped off a nice stretch, and he talked a little bit about that and how the breaks not coming at an ideal time. He's the last whatever 3 games, we're like you said, we're recording on Saturday before Saturday's game. He's in a 3-game hitless stretch. And it didn't look great against Hunter Green. Nobody looked great against Hunter Green last night, Friday night. But where's Bregman's head at? What was he talking about, and how does he kind of view his second half?
Well, basically, it was Tuesday night in Baltimore, and he had a nice game, and there were a bunch of questions, and sometimes Bregman's a good talker, and he sees the whole game, so you can ask him about all sorts of different things. But it's the time of the year where it's like, what about your performance? And I just said, is it, it seems like you're kind of picking it up, getting a little bit of rhythm. It's it's All-Star break coming at a bad time here, and he sort of laughed and said he, spoke with Pete Alonso at first base, and the way Bregman recalled it was Alonso says something like, "You feeling better?" He's like, "Yeah," and Alonso goes, "And you get the All-Star break in 5 days," and Bregman's like, "Oh, perfect." And so I don't know. You can look at these things a lot of different ways. If you're kind of grinding through it, does it make sense to take a break and step back for 4 days? Or if you're going off feel, if you feel like you're making progress, do you not want to interrupt that for an All-Star break? And so Cubs hitting coach Dustin Kelly said basically they had looked at these last 2 weeks before the All-Star break. So leaving Milwaukee, you have a homestand at Wrigley, and this trip to Baltimore and Cincinnati, and really kind of viewing that as hoping that's a building block of really kind of honing in on a couple of things. And to be honest, like Bregman is so obsessed with this that it's hard to kind of like if this guy's constantly sending coaches videos anyway, and if every swing he ever takes is recorded in the cage, out on the field in BP, obviously during games there's all this tracking technology as well. Like, well, what's the like now it's really the focus, but it just this is such a weird sport to try and figure out, and that he did have his thumbs down home run during that homestand. He's been getting on base, collecting hits during this stretch. His game Wednesday in Baltimore, I mean, first at bat, the left fielder makes this crashing catch at the wall. His last at bat, it's just a bullet right at the third baseman. Had a deep fly ball that scored a run and advanced two other runners. There are signs. He hasn't been a net zero because he gets on base, because he plays Gold Glove caliber defense, but like he knows it. Like, he has not performed up to expectations. Like, he wants more. He knows he has to deliver more. He knows why he was signed here, and just the home run power has not come. I don't really know if it will or not, but he's certainly, from the moment he signed, we knew he was going to be kind of the main characters in the story of this season, and he's still got some more time to rewrite that.
Yeah, I mentioned that it was hitless in the last 3 games, and you actually look at 2 of those games, and the quality of contact was really nice. It was really the Hunter Green game, like I said. Everybody struggled against him. There are signs, and if you want to believe, you absolutely should. I always feel like guys like Bregman, guys who have proven it, guys who, when they start showing signs, it's like, okay, this is going to work at some point. It may not be perfect. I don't know if he ends with the numbers that you want him to have. It's kind of like what you were saying a few episodes ago. It's like, just get, be great for whatever is left. And if the numbers aren't the numbers that you wanted at the beginning of the season, who cares? Is the team where it needs to be? Are you impacting the team down the stretch? That may be what the Cubs. That's really all the Cubs care about now. What he's done doesn't really matter anymore. Just go out there and perform. I think the biggest concern, 3 weeks ago when this was really reaching its nadir, hopefully it's nadir for the Cubs, the Cubs certainly hope, has time caught up with them? Is the bat just not as good as it once was? I don't think that's the case. I mean, we can talk about so many players, but we just saw this with Dansby Swanson, and like, these things turn quickly. This has been a little bit more of a slow burn, and it seems like it's turning. So it'd be huge if it is, because last episode we just talked about Pete Armstrong. We know how good this offense can be. Seiya Suzuki's really in a good spot. Second half, it's like Bregman, and if Bush gets a power surge and starts hitting for the power we know he can hit for, this offense could level up even more. It's a really good offense, but you need different guys to step up at different moments, because other people are going to slump. Pete isn't going to be this hot for the rest of the season. Maybe he will be. Maybe he's just that type of guy now. I don't know, but you have to kind of assume like he at least slows slightly. But I think there's just no doubt that he's the most important of the bats in the second half as far as guys that we haven't really seen perform at the highest level. If he can perform at a high level, it alters just how good this team can be. We know how good their offense is, but if they can be even better, especially with all the injuries on the pitching side, it becomes really important. Let's take a break and talk about one more pitcher that is healthy right now, has been healthy for most of the year, and is incredibly important.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, the MLB season is in full swing, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Joining the action is easy. Just make your free pick on who's hitting a home run in their game, and if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. It's just another reason why FanDuel is the home of home runs. So are you ready to play your game? Head over to FanDuel.com/podcast to get started. That's FanDuel.com/podcast to opt in for daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Patrick, Shota Imanaga had a pretty rough stretch, and if you talk to Craig Counsell, he'll say it's only 2 games because that at the third game, that athletic start, it just all of a sudden at the very end he gave up some home runs, and otherwise he had been looking really good. I can't remember exactly what that day was like, if it was a wind-blown home run night or not, but either way, I remember, like, Craig Counsell is pretty adamant that it's only 2 bad starts, not 3. Yeah, I know the box score looks different. He was really impressed with Shota that night, and he's been since that athletic start. It is 6 starts with a 2.81 ERA. He looks like a great pitcher. I think we could go different directions with this third person. We could focus on the bullpen, but we talked about this before, and I think the reason we decided not to, and it's a good reason, is because it's not about one pitcher in the bullpen. It's going to be a group effort, and it's going to be name that we probably don't know that it impacts this team. So we can't say like Daniel Palencia. Yeah, he's going to be important, but if he never gets back to his best self, like there's going to be moves made, there's going to be trades. That, like, the bullpen is just like this moving ever changing unit right now with the way it's set up due to injuries and ineffectiveness. Shota Imanaga, just like Matthew Boyd, we know what their ceilings are, we know how good they can be. Shota's important for this group. Like, he's been pretty damn good all season long. The overall numbers don't really indicate that, because the bad outings were so bad. There's an 8-run game, there's a 7-run game, there's a 5-run game, there's a 6-run game. That really skews the numbers. He's been really good, and he needs to continue it in the second half.
Counsell said Friday night in Cincinnati, like before and after that stretch, however you want to frame it, he's been really good, and he thinks he's in a good spot. I mean, to Shota's credit, he leads the team in starts and innings pitched, and no one's really close in either category. And you need, it'd be great if tomorrow the Cubs acquired no doubt number 1 starter, but you do the Aces project. There are very few of those guys available, and you need pitchers who can help get you to October. And Shota has been, if you look at those other segments of the seasons, he's been excellent. He's been not far off from his 2024 version, which was an all-star and a Cy Young Award caliber performance. And so I think Shota's bad moments are, he just gives up so many home runs that some of the online discourse I don't quite understand. It's just like, oh, he's not usable, he's unplayable. And I don't know if you watch the totality of his work with the Cubs. It's been very good. Now, obviously, he's sort of spoiled everyone by how excellent it was uh, as a rookie, um, and you just hope they can make some faster adjustments in August and September if he does go through another rough patch. And the way last season ended and all of the contract back and forth, it wasn't a great look. It wasn't kind of the smoothest transition there, but Shota went right to work last offseason. He doesn't really like reflecting on that or saying like, "Oh, I'm back," or that he's proved people wrong. But he does take a lot of pride in what he's done, and again, like, is he a guy you can trust to go through a lineup twice in a playoff game? Maybe not your first choice, but not unrealistic to think that he can help get you to the playoffs and then be a factor in the postseason.
Absolutely. The home runs, look, there's a 4-game stretch here where he gave up 12 home runs. He's given up 22 home runs on the season, and 12 of them, over half of them, came in a 4-game stretch. He was not, he wasn't as effective as he needed to be during that stretch. I remember talking to Tommy Honaby during that stretch, like, what's going on? Like, what are you working on? And he's like, the problem is that it's not the same thing. Like, different things were happening. So it's not something where they were overly concerned, and it's also not something like where they were like, just do this. This is the correction. There were some different things going on over those starts, and they seem to largely have been corrected over the last 6. I believe it's 5 home runs, and 3 of them coming in one game against the Mets. So he's going to have those moments. I know it's annoying for fans to hear this, but if he limits them to solo shots, even if it's 3 of them, the Cubs should be able to win those games because their offense is good enough. It's not going to work every single time. He's going to have a bad outing here or there. I think the hope going forward is there are 2 things. The hope going forward is those games don't come in the playoffs, the really bad ones. And then I think the reason for optimism is, and why you don't like really look at it like last season, is because the stuff's completely different than last season. It's back to the 2025 or 2024 version stuff wise. The results aren't exactly like 2024. The home run is biting him a little bit more often, and sometimes in tougher situations. But it absolutely, that velo being back to where it was completely changes where I view him. I like it. It just, he was not the same pitcher in this once after that hamstring injury last year. And he's, like you said, he doesn't love to get into depth about it, but he put in the work to get back to where he was. He's healthy now. He feels right. And Hottovy said it in spring training. I think Shota may have said it too. There were things he couldn't do with his body. He wanted his body to move a certain way, and it wasn't moving that way. And when you're hurt, or you're not fully recovered, or whatever's going on, like, you can't do those things, then you're just not going to be as effective. He's a different pitcher right now, and incredibly important. And the Cubs don't have an ace when there are not that many ones in the game. I wouldn't lock either Boyd or Shota into a 2, but they can pitch like 2s. For long stretches of time. Obviously you'd love to have Ben Brown back. You'd love to have Cade Horton healthy. Like, these guys all look like ones when they're at their best, but that's not the reality the Cubs are living in right now. So Shota and Boyd, these guys have to kind of carry the unit going forward. Who knows what the trade deadline brings, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard to get that impact guy. Can't rule it out. We'll see what rumors pop up over the coming weeks, but that's kind of what we're looking at. These 2 guys being the guys that you want to carry the bulk of the innings. A healthy Jameson Taillon isn't like the same impact as far as strikeouts and things like that, and like run suppression in general. Like he's going to give up his fair share of runs, but he does eat innings, so he's important too. But these are the two guys that I would focus on for the second half.
And Tyone, before we exit, is scheduled to be slotted back into the rotation after the All-Star break, assuming everything goes well in his second rehab start this weekend. Like you said, another guy, just professional, a stabilizer, can help cover some of these innings, because I do think this is going to get harder, like stretching out some of these bullpen performances, covering for shorter starts. Like it's just not as sustainable. And as Counsell said in Cincinnati, like it's not like they're going to come back from the All-Star break and the injuries are all resolved. Like they're going to be waiting on a lot of stuff. Other problems will pop up. So you need those guys who, get paid to cover those innings.
Yeah, absolutely. That Thursday game in Baltimore, it's a perfect example of like, you just don't have enough. You can't keep rolling out the same guys, and solid arms aren't going to always solid, but unspectacular relief arms like Tyler Ferguson. He's not going to be perfect. He's going to have these games where like he hits two guys or whatever happened that night, and it wasn't ideal, but like they needed. They need more arms in the bullpen, and they need guys to go deeper in games. That's absolutely true. All right. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. This is Northside Territory. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and subscribe to The Athletic, where Patrick and I are on top of all things Cubs. Thanks for listening and watching, everyone. Take care.